Hi, everybody. I've had an absolute blast recording your championship intros on audio and also on video. And for those of you that didn't know, the videos can be done special exactly the way you like them because these are green screens and we can do them with a scene behind me. Do you want a fighting scene? Do you want a beach scene? Do you want a race car scene? Any scene you want, we can give it to you. It's your theme and my pleasure. Just write our offices and we will answer you with the exact fee involved and how it'll get done. So here we are, and now it's time, and it's your choice. Cheers!
From the shores of Malibu where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China where nobody is jumping, and back to the streets of Las Vegas and on to Perth, Australia, where the UFC is coming. We are live. This is It's Time Radio, the show where we talk about what you think about, but may be afraid to voice. Don't worry, we will talk about it for you. We talk about it all, folks. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, UFC, entertainment, politics, TV, you name it. And today, we have my co-host, TJ DeSantis. TJ, how are you? I see you wanted to wear the same color as me. What's going on?
Well, I mean, you have a nice, deeper maroon. I got a more red. Look at my collar. My collar is, like, shitty, man. This thing's been through the ringer. I need a tighter collar, Buff. Jeez.
Either that or you're washing the hell out of that shirt. But either way, you look just fine.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, listen, more importantly, here we are. UFC news, UFC talk, lots of other talk. We've got on the action man, Chris Curtis. Chris, how are you, buddy?
I am deeply amused that you can do that so fluently. Like, just, you can do that. That is a very
It's all good, man.
That is impressive.
I got to do it right from one of the men with one of the finest beards in the UFC. I mean, come on.
It's out, right. Man. I'm like scroungy right now. I don't know if you guys got video for this later, but I'm so scroungy right now. Like, when you're in camp, I've reached that point where I stopped caring about how I look. It's fine. As long as I get through the gym, I'm okay.
That's all right. That's all right. Speaking of camp, you got a fight coming up, but not till October 5th with Kevin Holland. That's going to be an entertaining fight, Chris. That's going to be a very entertaining fight, I think.
I'm excited, man. I know I've known Kevin. I trained with Kevin. He's a very big personality. He's a fun dude, and he likes to scrap, man. Most importantly, he likes to scrap. And like, I'm somebody, I enjoy fighting way too much, man. Like, can I cuss on this show? Like, what are our rules here? Like, can I cuss here?
Oh, you can do whatever you like.
There you go. I've always told people I would rather fight than fuck, as bad as it sounds. Like, so, like, you got two guys who really like to fight, so there's like, this is gonna be fun.
They do. And you know what? You both like to strike. You both like to do it all. Kevin's proven himself on the ground, standing up. Is this like, would you consider this your biggest challenge as far as a fight in the UFC so far?
I think every fight's got to be your biggest challenge. Like, every time, and anyone that says it's not, it's lying. Because like, anytime you go out there, you're fighting someone, that person is trying to choke you unconscious or knock you out. So I have to say everything's your biggest challenge. Like Kevin provides. Technically, I think he is my tallest challenge. I think he's taller than Master. I think he's taller than Master Dean, but with longer arms. So technically, yes, he is. Right. My tallest challenge to date. With an 81-inch reach, which is absolutely insane. And it's unfair.
That's cool. Like a cheat code,
right? A little bit of your background, Chris. I know you grew up in Cincinnati. You're living in Vegas now, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, sunny, too hot Las Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Great way to put it. And living in Vegas, does this make it easier for you working with the UFC? Do you train at the complex there? Did you move to Vegas because of the UFC or because you wanted to move to Vegas?
I actually moved to Vegas before I got signed to the UFC. I fought PFL before UFC, and I moved to Vegas for that, for the gyms. And I kind of, after PFL, ended up staying here. And lucked out, we kept grinding. We did like 8 fights in a year. We got signed to the UFC. And then it worked out great because I live not even 10 minutes from the PI. So I can go, really? Yeah, it's great. Like, it's absolutely wonderful. So I've got my dietitian there, strength conditioning, most importantly, PTs coming off of a hamstring injury. For me, it's lots and lots of PT, like 4 or 5 days, like in 4 days a week, really. So it was nice that the PT office is 10 minutes from my front door. So it's definitely been a blessing, man, because I know me. Everyone who knows me knows that, like, if I had to drive a half hour to PT, I would never have done a single day. I've maybe done one day and then be like, nope, I'm fine. I'll do it on my own, whatever. So it's hard to be lazy when it's 10 minutes from your front door.
Hey, Bruce, I'd like to jump in here and talk about some of the challenges that Chris has kind of gone throughout his career. Because he talks about, keep grinding. Like, I met Chris in one of the most dangerous cities in North America, in Los Mochis, Sinaloa, Mexico.
Which city?
We were in Sinaloa, Mexico.
Yeah, literally on the State Department's website, it says travel advisory level 4, do not come here.
It was great. It was great. I found that out like the week that I left. Like, it's like one of those dangerous places in the on this side of the world. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah. And I meet Chris Curtis, who's playing with his Nintendo Switch as we are trying to find someone to get us a car. He's basically the only one with the group that I am with that can speak some Spanish.
I got Spanglish. Yeah, we got Spanglish. Like one guy had Spanglish. Like, yeah,
it was pretty impressive. And what was most impressive to me, Chris, was you mentioned grind and you had a goal to get to the UFC, and you were on this like tour of doing whatever it took to get there. I mean, did you ever come to the conclusion that maybe your dream couldn't be attainable to get there and get to where you are now, being on high profile cards?
Honestly, yeah, man. You like that? I think with anyone, I don't care who you are, when you have a door closing your face enough times, anyone's gonna start to think like, you know what, like maybe it's just not gonna happen. Like for me, it was insane because I beat guys that I had beaten at the time who gone on to go get signed, and I was going around at the time collecting belts from North America. I was like the scourge of the North. Like I had like pretty much like probably 40% of the useful belt in North America myself. And I'm like, I'll just keep beating people until, like they sign me. If I have every belt and I beat everybody, they can't ignore me. It turns out they can. Like that was not a foolproof measure. So like in Mexico, I think I was on like a 8 or 9 fight win streak at the time. And that was all within like a calendar, all within a year. I was just like fighting like 8 times that year. And I was like, I will kill everything until they sign me. So, but like for a while, like, you start to wonder, like, maybe it's not it. And for me, the scary part was I was in school, I remember I was in school before I decided to fight full time. I remember actually like looking at my professor and being like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I was in a pre-law class for contractual law, like law and contracts. And I just remember closing my book, like I could be training right now. And like, which one of these things I want to do? So I was like 21, I was like 20, 21. And I picked training. I want to train full time. And I did that and I left. So to be like in your 30s and realize maybe you made the wrong choice and you sacrifice all of your 20s at the beginning of your 30s for a dream that may not come true was horrifying. At that point, I had no choice but to keep going because I'm like, I've gone too far. All of my eggs are in this basket. Like, if these eggs don't hatch, I have to burn the basket and like figure something else out. So,
what's funny to me is I think that fighters have to be irrational human beings just to enter the octagon and fight. But from a logistics standpoint, you have to be irrational too, and at times maybe even delusional to make it work so it can ultimately work in the end.
I think delusion is probably the most accurate vernacular you could have chosen for that. I think every fighter in the world is delusional. We're all delusional before we get to the big stage because you have to be. Because think about how many people, like Bruce, you've been around for how long? My God. How many fights have you seen? People come and go, whatnot. People never get there. People that get there and then can't stay there. Like there's thousands of people doing this. So to every person saying, I'm going to be one of the best, I'm going to be on top, you're essentially saying, I'm going to be better than the other thousands of people who are doing this. And mind you, of those, let's say 5,000 people who are trying to get there, there was probably 20,000 who tried and burned out before that point. So like you're saying to yourself, I'm better than those people. And like, oh, you can say confidence, whatever. But I think it's delusion. It has to be. You're like, I don't care. Everyone who failed before me, people that maybe someone beat you before and they failed, and you're like, well, I'm still going to get farther than he did, even though on paper he beat you. You're like, doesn't matter. I'm going to keep going. I think all of us are delusional. And this is why like you see so many fighters like don't get along because two crazy people, two delusional people don't exist well in the same, like my universe can't, if I'm delusional, my universe can't be the same as your universe. Your delusion's here, my delusion's here. They don't usually like go together, which is why you always see fighters fighting each other, because like your delusion encroaches upon my delusion. Therefore, like one of us has to die. We all play by Headlander rules. It's very stupid. We're very strange people.
Well, call it strange, call it normal, call it whatever. You are who you are.
Yeah, I am.
You are. I am what I am.
Thank you, Bruce.
But, you touched on something there I was going to ask you about. I found it very interesting, checking out your background, that you were going to school to become an attorney.
I was trying to.
Right?
That was the goal. I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer because lawyers make money and they're it's a safe job. So I was like, okay, like we're going to start doing pre-law stuff and we're going to do all this. I'm going to be a lawyer. And then I was reading a book one day and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I don't want to do this forever. Like, God, no. It was,
it's some of the hardest work there is, the hours you got to put in each week. It's not, call it tough, call it whatever. When you make it as a lawyer, just like when you make it in anything, you make it in anything. But that's a real dedication. You better be passionate about it. You're going to hate it.
Well, I think it would be soul-sucking. For a guy like Chris who's following their passion, how do you just accept the money to ignore that?
I've always loved law, though. I always thought it was cool. But, like, so Lance Spouty, my manager and, like, probably one of my best friends in the world, he was a lawyer. Like, he actually made it. He did it. Yeah, I was on pre-law. Lance went to law school, became an attorney, everything. And he's just like, you made the right choice. Because even he's a lawyer, even he doesn't practice anymore. He's like, you made the right choice. Like, it's a job and it's a good, well-paying job, whatever. But he's like, it's very hard to like, you have to really love like law in the process and everything to be a lawyer. And he's like, you made the right choice. Because like, this is harder, by far the harder path. But like, Lance knows me. He sees the joy I get from fighting. Like, I genuinely like love fighting. Like, I absolutely love it. So like, I think I made the right choice. He's like, you got out early, which was good. He's like, you'd be pissed if I'd gone to law school and then decided, oh, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. He was like, then you'd be mad and broke. So at least I hopped off the train early.
There's always a backup plan, but there's also got to be a future plan for when you put your guns down, right?
Yes.
So what is Chris Curtis's current plans outside fighting? Do you have other revenue streams outside of your fighting? Are you doing any other things? Are you preparing for the future? You've got a long career ahead of you, even at 37, right?
Yeah, right. I always say I got 3 more years left. I got 3 more good years. And then after that, you got, at 40, I think, unless you're a heavyweight, you kind of got to reevaluate, like, how do you want your quality of life to be in your 60s, like, from fighting? And I've done more fights than most people. So I really have to kind of be aware that, like, I've been put my brain through the ringer for a few years now. So I think I got, like, 3 more good years. I'm just now starting to get into investing, so that's going to be fun. But, like, post-fighting, it's the scariest thing to ask a fighter, honestly. Like, what do you do after this? And you're like, I don't know, man. I spent so much of my time, like, getting to this position to where, as irresponsible as it sounds, you don't get the luxury usually of planning that far ahead. Most of us kind of, like, once we're done fighting, like, you say you got to put your guns down. As bad as it sounds, most of us plan on dying in the ring. Like, we plan on dying in a shootout. Like, we're like that. Like, we're like, we're outlaws. Like, you're like, you don't plan on being 60. Jesse Wales didn't plan on being 50. Like, no, I'm going to get shot and killed robbing a bank or something. So when you get, when you become the old man in the group and you're like, oh, I didn't die in the shootout. What do I do? Like, oh my God, like, what's happening?
That it's funny you say that, because I feel like, it goes back to that delusion we were talking about. Like, you have to be delusional to, like, put your safety at risk to go pursue a fighting career. And sometimes, Chris, I feel like you're right. Like, maybe fighters aren't necessarily wanting to die in a fight by any means, but I think that they accept the idea that it could happen and they're okay with it.
That's why I love That's why I love that Bruce said, put your guns down. I'm going to tell you guys, like, we don't actively think about it, but, like, when you, on paper, if you were to talk to fighters, you'd realize we think we're gunslingers. We think we're old West gunslingers. Like, I'm out here doing stuff. I'm famous, blah, blah, blah. No gunslinger ever was like, well, what do I do afterwards? Like, no, you're like, I'll be dead by then. It's fine. And then when you get old, you're like, holy shit, like, holy crap. Sorry for cussing here. Holy crap, I made it. Like, what do I do now? That's like, it's so funny you say put your guns down. So I always tell myself, like, okay, you don't want to be the gunslinger who needs one last job. Because like, that's when it all goes bad.
But once a gunslinger, always a gunslinger. Once a fighter, always a fighter. And I'm not fighting in the octagon, but I also say, too, I'll probably die in the octagon. You know, it's tough. Right there.
It's time. Oh, no.
Hey,
If I had a way to go, I always said it's either by a great white shark in the ocean or it's going to be in the octagon. One or the other.
I deeply respect the great white shark. I always say, like, I want to die fighting or in an explosion. And they're like, what? I was like, those are the ways I want to go. Like, yeah.
So if
you're going to go out with a whole badge of glory. I mean,
that's exactly it.
Let's not talk about that.
Hey, hang on.
The bottom line is, no matter how you cut it, you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears and your life on the line every time you step in the octagon. Anybody that doesn't appreciate that about a fighter or a boxer in any promotion is not respecting what these people are doing. You know, you're putting it all on the line, deserve nothing but the tremendous respect that you know you deserve all the way around. I enjoy watching you fight, Chris.
Hey, Buff.
I enjoy watching you walk in, the way you handle yourself before the fight, after the fight.
Usually after. I've had some mistakes.
You have a very likable personality, very marketable. Are you selling any merchandise or anything to your people?
No, it's sad. I get yelled at a lot about this, about merch, but it's just like, I know it is a revenue stream I should take advantage of while I can, but it's just not the personality that I have or like the things I want to do. So we have like one shirt and I'm actually going to start doing some other stuff, but it's just for me, I never thought about like, you know, like selling stuff, whatever. I get to do what I love and I love that. But I am aware, like, I've got kids. I should probably be making as much money as I can on other things. So I'm trying to be better. But one of my ultimate weaknesses is, like, if I could just fight and then disappear and then just show up only on fight time, I'd be happy. Because, like, that's my thing. Like, I love the fans. I love interacting with fans. But, like, I'm such a recluse. I barely, like, leave my house.
It's all good. Let me give you a little business advice, okay? And TJ knows where I'm going with this. I created a company with my co-founders called Millions.co. Millions.co.
You guys make my shirts.
Okay, so you're part of Millions.co.
You guys make my shirts, yeah. So I got to not making one shirt. You guys make my shirts.
All you got to do, Chris, you're probably not doing it, is your social media following. You need to just create one post and at least once a week post the fact that your shirts are there, because that's your immediate audience right there. And then, you know, you've got the watch parties you can do there. Yeah. Shevchenko's sisters do watch parties. As Henry Cejudo, who actually invested in the company, does watch parties there.
I've done watch parties with you guys. I had no idea that was you.
Have you done it?
Yeah, I have no idea that was you. I had no clue that was you. I've done watch parties with you guys. I've got my only merch, actually, like you guys made for me. That's so funny. That I did not know that was you. That's hilarious.
All of a sudden, Chris is like, I'm not bad at this business thing.
Like, I'm learning. I'm not terrible.
Yeah, so that you're already doing it a little bit. You just got to promote it to your people. Just get it out there.
See, Bruce Buffer has been like indirectly saving me for the last 2 years already. Thank you, Bruce Buffer.
There you go.
Little did you know, Chris, you actually work for Bruce. He's your
fine.
boss.
No.
This is a quarterly review to see if you get to keep your job.
Don't work for me. Work with me.
This is my performance reviews. Like, so, like, where's your merch at, Chris? Like, my bad.
So
I work for Chris. Every time I roar his name in the octagon, I'm working for Chris. That's the way I look at it.
Dude, you still have the coolest job though in this. Like, you don't get to get like it's funny because I was doing this before. Like, you're like one of the most beloved people in the sport. You don't have to get hit in the face to do it too. I was like, you won. Like
everybody loves Buff. Everybody loves Bruce.
You and Anik figured this out. Like you guys, like nobody hates you guys. Everybody loves you guys, and no one has to hit you. I was like, you guys did this the right way. In my next life, I'm gonna remember this. I'm like, all right, I got it.
No fighters hit me unless we're in an elevator. That's about it.
What was that about?
It's you saw the story that Dana White did on the UFC show. Did you see that, Chris?
I saw like a clip of it on Twitter. It was like in passing, and I was like, "What is this? Like, who is fighting Bruce Buffer?"
What you see is what you see, and what you see is what it was. That's all I can tell you.
I get it. I won't ask. I understand what you're saying. I get what you're putting down, but that is hilarious. Like, bro, like, that was not on my bingo card for the year. Like Bruce Buffer fighting in an elevator.
Hey, you don't want a wimp announcing you in the octagon. Let's put it that way, okay?
I get it. I brought
Hey, Chris, you got a few seconds? We'll go over some news and the stories you want to share with us here?
My day is yours, guys. Let's do it.
Well, I see Conor McGregor's in the news again.
What do you do?
Donald Trump talked about Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Conor went,
yeah. Yeah.
Wait, what do you say? What happened? I missed this follow up now.
I think, what was it exactly, TJ?
Someone
Donald?
asked Donald Trump who his favorite MMA fighter was.
He picked Khabib. Poor Colby.
He picked Khabib, and that bothered Connor.
Well, I mean, screw Connor. Think about Colby. He's like made his entire shtick about Donald Trump.
You know
Trump
what?
snubbed you.
God dang it!
Hey, he got a little butthurt
about that. I completely forgot that Colby went to the damn White House with the belts, and apparently he's not even top of mind.
He's got the hat, the 45 jacket, and he's like, he picked Khabib over you. Oh my God. My man's at home like an angry ex-girlfriend burning all of his stuff in the front yard right now. Like, he's got to have a bonfire out there. Like, I'll show you. He needs to walk out with a Kamala jacket on. Like, that's the ultimate betrayal.
Oh man, like the turn. Dude, they call it like pro wrestling. We need that.
Heel face, heel, everyone to do. But like, you got to do it.
We'll talk politics, Chris, but we don't get political on the show. Everybody has a right to vote who they want to, and we pretty much keep our feelings.
I argue with people. I'm like, guys, I'm not going to yell at anybody about who you vote for. But as an American, just go vote. Like, that's all that matters. Like, this is something like we have that like very few places on the planet have this level of like freedom and like guaranteed security to go vote. I tell people all the time, like, we may not agree on politics, whatever. I don't care. Just go vote. Like, be an American, go vote. Like, your choice is your choice, but don't skip voting. Like, I don't care what you're voting for. Understand that when you get in the idea of saying like, my vote doesn't matter or it doesn't matter, I'm like, so many men and women have died to give you the opportunity to do that. So like, don't like take that way out and say it doesn't matter. People died for that. Like, doesn't matter who you're voting for, what you believe, like take advantage of that because like so many Americans have laid their lives down for you to do that. So yeah, I'm always saying vote. Right. I'll never judge you for what you do, but make sure you do something. Good
attitude. You're absolutely correct. And if you're going to express opinions about it, then you better get out and vote about it.
Yeah, exactly. Period. Exactly. Like if you feel strongly, I'll never hate you for feeling. I told one guy the other day, I was just arguing with him. I was like, look, man. I was like, I'm not going to unfriend you. I'm never going to hate you because your opinions are different than mine. Like if you feel that this person or party is what's best for you and your family, I can't judge you for that because you have to take care of you. I'll never hate you for that. Like it's. There's so much stuff going on in the world that I'm not going to hate you because you like person A over person B. Like, I refuse. I absolutely refuse, and I never will.
To me, like, I feel it's important to have friends in your circle that make you think outside of your own box. You know what I mean? Different ideologies are what make us go, okay, am I correct in what I think I know about anything? Because that's the thing. Too many people just complain and argue about you're not on my side, I'm not on your side, instead of actually talking about anything logically. Well, and that bothers me.
And that's right. The issue is like you have to be able to have conversations and even friendship with people who don't believe the way you do, because that's the only way progress is made. If you exist in the echo chamber of left or right, all you're going to hear are things that reinforce what you believe, or even things you may not be sure on, but if you hear it enough, you'll say, okay, they can't be that bad because this many people are saying it. You have to be nothing will ever change anywhere, any country, this or any other country, if people don't have conversations. So I'm always willing to have conversations with anyone. I've never yelled at someone, I've never bashed someone about it. You have to have conversation because nothing will ever change if no one talks. We're going to need to fight, we need to argue, but if you don't speak, nothing will ever change.
Absolutely. Wow, something just came over the news wave here.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Jesus.
Uh-oh. You're scaring me, Buff.
A huge commercial airliner just spiraled out of the sky in Brazil and Sao Paulo and crashed. Everybody aboard it. It's just a big ball of fire.
Oh, no.
Oh. Sorry, it just came out.
That's I wonder if it's related to the Boeing thing where like Boeing's.
Oh, God.
God only knows.
Jesus.
I hope not. It's crazy, how many things that we hear about when it comes to like, airline safety. And I'm starting to wonder, is it because something has gone wrong with the overall manufacturing of things, or are we just hearing more about all of these situations because everything is, recorded and all sorts of stuff,
I don't know, man.
Don't get me wrong.
it's like I'm a huge aerospace guy, aeronautical guy. I love fly. I'm actually getting my pilot's license, working on that. The
Oh,
thing is,
wow.
the thing is about a set like with like a passenger jet. They're designed to fly with most like you can have like they said
Yeah.
like a 747 can fly with like 60 to 70% structural integrity failed.
Yeah.
So the fact that you have like this is insane. Like this is a commercial jet that fell out of the sky. Like planes aren't designed to fall out of the sky. They're very hard
Right.
to like yeah. So
They
I
showed the
feel like
video, and
it's
this literally was just doing this on the way down.
Wait, so was it on fire on the way down, Buff, or was it just spiraling on the way
No,
down?
spiraling on the way down. It exploded on impact.
so
That's the thing. Chris
that's
brings up,
engines. That's an engine thing to
yeah.
where so like, I'm gonna say if you're spiraling like that, you're corkscrewing down. That spiral, you have
stall.
an unrecoverable stall. But like, why is this like? That's so. Oh, that's miserable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
horrible.
So, like,
My heart goes out to everybody
well,
on that plane, their families, and everything. It's
what's crazy?
More come out about it.
What's
I didn't mean
crazy
to bring
me,
it up. It just came over
No.
the
No, that's
airwaves.
wild.
Well,
Like I'm on a crush for everyone in Brazil
Well,
right now. That's
if you guys remember that Sully incident, the
Yeah.
the plane that was
yeah.
taken off in I think Newark, they had a complete engine failure in about I think like 50 seconds after taking off, and they
The
were
most
still
dangerous.
Right, but my point is to Chris's statement that you can glide even a big ass commercial plane
Can glide.
down generally. So like for it to stall out like that and to spiral down, I
So
mean a lot is obviously going to come out with this, but I'm very curious if this was like mid-flight,
so
if it because
that's
it's
the
crazy
thing.
that would
That's the
happen.
thing is like if you say if it's spiraling down, that's a flat spin. So where
Yeah,
if you're having a flat spin, then like you've stalled out on like one of your engines stalled out, and for some reason you couldn't recover from that flat spin. Flat spins aren't great because just the way aerodynamics work, like think about think about throwing a piece of paper like a leaf in the air, a feather, and watching it
hmm
come down. How because it's so unbalanced on one side, you're picking up more and more speed as you're coming down, which is why flat spins are really dangerous for pilots. Like as I come down, the spin gets worse and worse and worse. To see like a commercial airliner do that is terrifying because there's like a lot of things designed to plane not to do that, especially something that big. So like that's got to be either it could be pilot failure, like a pilot problem, but like that's really really hard to like not be able to address. So you have to guess like man, it's like a maintenance thing or like like maybe like
You
something
know,
was like that's it's crazy like that's not it's not supposed to happen.
no matter what the scenario is, the chance of a plane crash or being involved in that, the odds are so high. And we'll get off this in a second. One last note I just want to say is there's been more reports of weird things happening with pilots, the turbulence issues that have happened on planes recently, delayed planes, this, that, and the other. I mean, it's plane flying for me is not anywhere near what it used to be. Nowhere.
Yeah.
The hardest
Well,
part of this job, the most heinous part of this job at times is the travel. Like I got to go to Perth on Tuesday.
Oof.
I love going down to Australia. It's a great country. The plane ride, 30 hours off and on in
yeah.
airports and in a tube is just so long
Yeah.
getting
Well,
down there.
I feel like too the safety and some of the stuff that you're talking about with pilots, Buff. I think I'm just talking out of my ass here. I'm not an economist by any means, but the airline industry was so hampered by COVID. They lost so much money,
Oh yeah,
and
big time.
sometimes I worry that the issues that we're seeing are just simply shortcuts that are being taken that are rearing their ugly faces. Whether it's
It,
pilots
that's
that haven't
actually
slept
not
enough,
it's a
or
good point
you know,
it could
actually.
very
Yeah.
it could very well be. You just touched on another subject, COVID. I'm not saying it. We have to mask up again, but in airports, I'm thinking about it. COVID now, according to some professionals I've talked to, and even my pharmacist here in my neighborhood,
Mhm.
the worst it's been in 3 years as far as
Yeah.
the number of infections. And TJ, you just got over it, right?
I'm just getting over it. Yeah,
Dude,
it was fine. It
I've
was
had
fine for
COVID
me.
three times.
Yeah, so me too, Chris. Now I'm curious, how different have your experiences been each time you've had COVID? Because every time I've had it, it started the first time really bad, and then after that, like one time I had it, I didn't even know it, and then
Okay.
this time, like I had a runny nose.
Okay. So the first time I had COVID was 2019. It was right when it first happened. It was like that December.
Mm.
Right? I was fighting in PFL and I was the alternate for the finals. And I flew to New York for on New Year's Eve, right? It was a New Year's Eve fight. So I'm there. I've got 41 fights. I've never missed weight ever. I was an alternate. I remember we get to the hotel. We're gonna cut weight. I'm thinking I have like maybe like I'm getting like a sinus infection or a cold, whatever. So I'm like, it's fine. I'll be fine. I go to cut weight. I get in the sauna for 15 minutes. I walk out the sauna, and I syndicate in the way. I was coach John Wood was there with me. John Wood was like, "Why are you at the sauna?" And he says, "I went to go talk to him, and I just fell on my face. Well, I just fell like flat on my face." I wake up to like John slapping me. I'm like, "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." He sits me down. I'm talking to him. He's like, "You just turned off again." So this is like right before COVID became a big thing, and they're like, "What's going on? What's going on?" We thought I was sick. We had to do it in a portable sauna. They're just like, "You're done. You're not cutting weight." Only time I didn't even get to the scale. Only time it's ever happened. So I didn't know what it was. I think I'm just getting like a flu, whatever. So the night, New Year's Eve, the night of the fights, whatever, I'm pissed and I get I'm not gonna get paid for this. So I go down to the diner in the hotel, right, to get a burger because I'm cutting weight, whatever. Get a burger. I eat this burger, worst burger I've ever had.
Cutting weight, you're getting a burger?
Well, I had to stop cutting weight because like I missed it because like whatever. Okay. So I'm like, I got a burger the next night. I'm just gonna mad, whatever. I go get a burger, worst burger. It looks delicious. Worst burger I've ever had. It just tastes like nothing. This is before COVID was a big thing. So I didn't know that like my lack of taste wasn't like the burger sucking. It was COVID. I get home, I'm sick for like 2 weeks. I just felt bad. Whatever. Find out later COVID's a thing. So I'm like, fine. In August of the next year, I'm going to fight for Bellator. The Wednesday before we leave, I get my COVID test. They're like, you failed. Like, you're positive, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I feel fine. Like, me and another guy from my gym got positive. I'm like, I feel fine, whatever. I'm pissed. I'm mad, like, fights off. So I go to the store that night. I buy a bunch of junk food. I've been cutting weight for weeks. I buy all this junk food. Like, I'm going to eat my feelings away. Everything I got sucked. Every single thing I got just tasted like this trash. I'm like, why is my life so bad today? This is the best part. So me and my girlfriend had just broken up, right? She moved back to Florida. This was the stripper I was dating at the time. Don't ask. Terrible choices. Vegas.
No ass needed.
Stripper moved back to Florida. So I'm by myself, and I'm like, I'm mad. I'm like, oh, this is stupid. The next day, I'm on my like couch. I can't move from my couch. I am on my like hands and knees dying. The day after, Lance, my manager, comes to my house. Him and his wife come. I'm like, where have you been? And thank God Lance has keys because I haven't left my couch for 2 days. I'm just like, this is it for me. I haven't drank water in 2 days. I'm like on my couch just dying. So Lance and his wife come and take care of me. The second time was the worst by far. After that, when I got a booster, I got the vaccine, the booster, whatnot. The third time was not nearly as bad. The third time, it was like an annoying, like almost like a light flu. It wasn't bad. So the first 2 times were like trash. I got the vaccine, the booster. The third time I got it was not nearly as bad. I tested positive. I was going to go home to see my older son. And I tested positive before I got on the plane, like a few days before, like a positive, whatever. That wasn't bad. It was just annoying. I felt kind of like crap for like 3 days, but it wasn't nearly. The first 2 were like a week and 2 weeks apiece. Third one was like 3 days. I felt kind of bad. It wasn't terrible, but like I could feel it. So yeah, man, it sucks. Like my father was a doctor, and he just retired this year. And I was like, why? Like, he's like, for him, he's like, COVID burned me out. He's like, I got burned out from COVID. He was like, I've never seen this many people. I've never seen. He's like, like people die. But he's like, I've never had people come to my office. I talk to them. I see them a week later, and they're going to the morgue. And he's like it burned my father out. He was like, I'm done. And my dad walked away from it. Like 30-something years as a doctor, he walked away. He's like, COVID burned me out. He's like, I can't do it anymore. So like, yeah, man, like traveling's getting scary again. Be careful, bro. Like we can't lose you. Like you're the voice of the octagon. We can't lose Bruce Buffer. Please be careful.
Oh,
put a mask on, something. We can't lose Bruce.
I promise, Chris. I'm strong as an ox, but anything can happen. But I take care of myself best I can. I'll be around. Don't worry. Like Dana White said, you'd have to shoot me to keep me out of the octagon. And the only thing that's kept me out of the octagon is COVID, which I would have probably gone and worked anyway, except for the fact it was so contagious at the time.
Yeah.
If it wasn't contagious, I still would have done the work that night.
Were both of yours bad?
The first time I got it, it slammed me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It slammed me hard. The second time I got it, not a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, It was what it was. It was what it was.
Wasn't as bad.
I find it crazy that Chris had COVID in 2019.
Dude, I was
You were
like, I think
patient
I was
zero,
like,
dude.
I was like, was I that monkey from Outbreak? Like, it was in December, it got big in January. I was like, I'm the monkey from Outbreak. Somebody on that plane from New York was the one that did it. And I was like, one of you had COVID, and he sprayed it to everybody. He's like, we had no idea what it was. And then it's so funny looking back. I was like, bro, we had COVID. Like, that's why everyone was dying on that flight.
Well, let's just hope everything's okay. And we never go back to the mask situation, but COVID's COVID. It's here to stay. It's here to be around. Let's talk a little bit about the Olympics. And everybody, I hope you all stay safe from COVID out there. Snoop Dogg.
He's our mascot.
My man Snoop Dogg, $500,000 a day he's making at the Olympics.
Dude, I
Whoa.
love it. I'm not sure when it happened, but like America adopted Snoop Dogg as our Snoop. It adopted Snoop as our icon for America.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just
It was that.
everyone's fine with it. Everyone's like, yeah, it can be Snoop. Like, yeah.
It was when that Martha Stewart thing came out with him. Like, I feel like he showed that side of like mainstream marketability, and now
Yeah,
that, like
totally. He markets
marijuana
everything.
is just a thing that is everybody is okay with now. There's no reason to not like Snoop.
I remember discovering Snoop when I was super young, when my dad had all the freaking CDs, and I remember that Snoop to now. I'm like, what happened? Like, what? Hats off to his marketing team for like the brand change and the pivot.
Hats off.
And now he's just he's the icon of America. We're going to the Olympics. Who's going to represent America? The American spirit. We picked Snoop, and it is the greatest thing ever.
Actually, you know what? I second guessed it for a second. Then I thought about it. I thought it was kind of a great move because it's bringing in eyeballs to the Olympics that maybe might have normally tuned in. The audience that Snoop has, I mean, he's hilarious. He's adding a little humor to it. When I saw he was running with the torch, I'm like, what? What? Really? Seriously? But anyway, it is what it is.
I have to ask. I didn't see it. He didn't light a blunt with the torch or anything, did he?
I hope not.
I hope he calmed it down for that much. Like, come on, man. Like,
You know
might
what?
have.
I bet you someone had to have the conversation with him just to make sure.
I can't this. Like, what's not? Like, that's absolutely hilarious. Like, I love it. Like, the Martha Stewart saga is the greatest thing that ever happened. And like, Snoop and Martha,
the combo pack there works so well.
oh, it's great.
Couple other things in the Olympics. The triathletes swimming in the Seine River, that was absolutely insane.
Dude,
Insane.
You see the guy like vomit when he got out, and he's like,
they're
you win a gold
hospitalized.
medal. You're celebrating. Like, hold on, guys. I'm actually like dying from like I'm gonna have dysentery after this. Like, that is freaking gross.
The Olympics is an amazing thing, and thank you, Paris and France, for putting them on, doing what you do. But some of the stories out here, the cardboard beds they sleep in, the lack of air conditioning.
So that's not even
all that.
France, though. That happens like every Olympic. The thing is, I did it like a few years ago. Went down that rabbit hole about the Olympics, and like every country that does it, like, you know, you got like all these temporary shelters and everything else, and it's just like this really. As cool as it is to see, there's so much like corner cutting and like last minute like crunching everything done. Every country is just like, you know, there's like someone in South America had like Olympics. It was Russia. The Sochi one had like there's like an empty stadium that's still there. They built it with all that money and they just left it. Like, bro, like it's just for that one time.
It's weird that the Olympics sometimes look like the Fire Festival. You know, like what is happening?
Just need John.
Well, how about this? I think the story of the week last week was the pole vaulter, Anthony Ammirati.
Bro, what a way to lose. Like,
what a way to lose. But now stuff has come out about that. I mean, he's being accused of stuffing his package, okay? Even if he didn't stuff it, whatever, we're a supporter or something, you know, when you're running down the thing. But it turns out, if I have this correctly, it's come out, he's already received a $250,000 offer from a porn site to show his package, right?
Of course.
And I can't say this is true, but supposedly he has an OnlyFans site. And he made like over $200,000 from this on OnlyFans, which was like 4 times or more that he would have made from the gold medal.
It is so strange, the opportunities you get from being an Olympian. Like, hey man, you can win.
Times are changing.
But right, like, you wanna shoot this video for us? Like, yeah, it's so weird. Like,
Well, how long until Jake Paul calls this guy out for his next fight?
I'm surprised he's not on the phone already.
Jake Paul just made an announcement.
That is
now
so
he wants to
stupid.
box in the 2028 Olympics.
Get out of here. He can't. He's already been a pro boxer.
Well,
No,
okay,
you
so this
can.
brings
You
up a
can.
big
So
question.
You can?
it's different. So so technically, they a while ago they removed the caveat that a professional fighter can't box in the Olympics. It's you can, like, it just depends on like a few things, but like it's actually been gone for a few Olympics now, to like they will allow pros to fight, which is kind of stupid.
Here's the thing: there's no way he makes an Olympic team.
No,
there's no way.
No, there's no.
No, there's not. But let's take this a step further. NBA athletes, even when I never understood this, and tell me if I'm wrong, but to be in the Olympics, you had to be an amateur and not make money. I mean,
it was.
people have lost their gold medals as a result of that. Yet we send over the NBA Dream Team, with all respect, with Jordan and Magic and all the great players that are on that team. They win the gold, and they're some of the biggest professional NBA athletes in the world. I don't get it. Why is it?
Yeah, that's
Different. Because it's
Other people
America
can't.
and basketball is ours, and we refuse to let anyone else beat us in basketball. So we definitely bent the rules, like, bro.
Yeah.
We're not losing a gold in basketball. We refuse. We sent over the best players of like 2 generations.
See, what's funny is this is a country that celebrates the 1980 hockey team that beat those pro Soviets with nothing but a bunch of college kids, right?
Right.
But then we literally send the greatest Yankees team, if we were talking about sports analogies, possible. Do you know what I mean? Like the NBA team that we send to be the dream team is 100,000 times more talented than the Russian Soviet hockey team. You know what I mean?
Put us against the rest of the planet, that team would have won. Like hands down. It was like
100%.
Sometimes you gotta stack the deck. Everyone does it. It's like we did it in basketball. Russia does it like every other like track sport. But like sometimes you gotta stack the deck a little bit. Like, you know, we're not losing basketball to like the Russians. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah, well, you know what? Did you hear about the Olympian Tom Craig from Australia, the field hockey player?
No, what happened?
He finished as part of the Olympics, then he got arrested for going in the street to buy cocaine in Paris.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't click on it.
Okay. There's so much. I think that speaks for itself. That's crazy.
My man was ready to party, and then
exactly.
Have you ever heard about the amount of condoms that get passed around in the Olympic Village?
I've heard it's an STD
crazy
nightmare. The Olympic Village is an STD nightmare, which is great. It's just like a college dorm, which is
Well, I mean, think about it. You have nothing but men and women from all over the world. So to somebody, everyone is exotic.
May or may not be hyped up on testosterone. Like it is the word to happen.
The best shape of their life, and they've been doing nothing but training for the last 4 years. So,
honest to God,
party.
That's you've got some of the greatest bodies and physical minds, whatever, humping and bumping like crazy. I'm sure porno directors would love to have hidden cameras in that camp.
I don't even want porno directors. Like, I'll never be one to preach about like eugenics, but like, guys, like, let them do it. Like, take the condoms away, let them do it. The children that come from these, like it's gonna be phenomenal. You got the best athletes on the planet, like out here, like you know, all the bro, like. Just take the condoms away. Like what happens, and like just offer to take the children. Those kids are super soldiers. Like
you let them breed.
You got sports agents. Sports agents wandering the Olympic Village trying to buy the birth rights to represent their children.
If I was an agent, I would be at the Olympic Village handing out like just my cards, like, bro, like, you know, we got options, like little papers to work. Yeah. It's like, we'll pay you. Oh my God, those kids would rule everything. Like that's what I would do. Like that's exactly what I would do. I would just like let them breed. I will pay you for your child, like cash money.
You know, speaking of the Olympics, we talked about it in the show previously, the money that people make for their gold medals. Have you heard about that, Chris?
Isn't it like $50K?
Oh no, it's it's a little under $50K for Americans. I don't have the chart here, but some countries as much as 700,000, and then Kazakhstan you get a 3-bedroom apartment. Or a 2-bedroom apartment. And then if you get the silver, you get a 1-bedroom apartment, and bronze, I think you get a single or something like that. It's amazing how it differentiates itself.
That's a very weird. I guess, you know, geographic. That's a very weird prize pack. But like,
I never knew that people got paid like that, even in America. If you won a gold medal, I never knew that.
Yeah, Rhonda talked about winning the bronze and like what her life was like and. Sort of like that. Like I think there's a documentary Michael Phelps did about, I think it's called The Weight of Gold, and it talks about the risk reward and everything that comes with being an elite level Olympic world champion. And it's hard because we talk about this amateur status, and that's a beautiful thing. But at the end of the day, it's like you can't get to the Olympics and be elite without training crazier than any professional. You know what I mean? Yeah. But there's not money there.
Well, I remember years ago they were talking about like USA Wrestling, about like making a fund for like Olympic guys that medal in the Olympics, so that after wrestling they would stick around, because like wrestling's a sport that bleeds people. Like all these high level athletes end up leaving because there's no money. Like, what do you do once you get there? So we picked up, like, for a while USA Wrestling was talking about doing that fund for Olympic guys that place in the Olympics so they stay in the sport. And it's just wild because, like, you do look at MMA. You guys like Khabib and Islam, when they win, they go home. Like, yeah, you made your fight purse, but you're treated like a celebrity, like you're taken care of. It's weird that the U.S. doesn't do that for like athletes, and like spending 4 years doing training 6-7 days a week for all of this. No, you can't have a life outside of that. I fight. Like, I don't have a life because of like my training schedule. So like being an Olympian's got to be even worse. And you get $50K for like the highest athletic honor in the world. They give you $50K, and then what do you do? Like another 4 years, $50K. You hope you get like endorsements. But like, what if it's a weird sport? Like nobody's doing crazy things to this endorsements.
Well, not everybody can be Simone Biles. Well, she's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
skill is a part of it, but like not. I know a lot of really good people, and like in fighting, for example, I know a lot of really good fighters who aren't really big personalities, so they never get the attention.
Right.
Like maybe a guy who's equally skilled or maybe less skilled but has a bigger personality gets. So like that's one of those things, man. Everybody's like, oh, you got to sell yourself. Remember when that came out? Oh, you got to sell yourself. Then everyone wanted to be Conor McGregor in that weird era of fighting where everyone was Conor McGregor and we all hated it. And like, I'm not the biggest Conor fan, but you got to give him credit. He's got his personality and he runs with it.
He's got the it factor.
Yeah, and it's just his personality, man. Like weird people, whatever. But it's like for a long time in MMA, everyone was like, okay, I'm gonna have to have it, and then everyone became Conor, and it was like 2 years where everyone was unbearable. So like,
let me ask you this. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just ranting. I'm just ranting about fake Conor McGregors.
Well, you bring up a good point about you have to sell yourself in combat sports, especially because some of the most talented fighters in the world were not necessarily unlikable people, but they didn't put out much for people to really gravitate to and hold on. And some fighters, I don't think, lived up to their money-making potential because of that. But there's a guy that you're very well familiar with, and I think it took a while for him to hit. But the way Sean Strickland has blown up, largely just being himself, you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting to me that Strickland's gone where he was to where he is now in the mainstream spotlight of things. And I think that the lights have burned a bit brighter, obviously, but I still think he's largely as true to himself as he's ever been.
It's scary.
He is.
Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was that,
Chris?
No, the scary part is we used to laugh about like this ever got famous. We have to like keep the mic from him so like he wouldn't get canceled. And now it turns out people are more people than you would think embrace his message. And like for me, it's hilarious to see, and I'm happy for him, but it's terrifying. I'm like, oh man, This is not the future we envisioned. We're like, ooh, like that could have went really south, but like it's. I always say there's somebody for everyone, and apparently Sean is that someone for a pretty big group of people, and like it just works, man. And he gets to be him. He gets to make money, being doing things that we thought would get him banned for life. So like I'm not. You have to be happy for him. Like the dude works.
I'm happy for everybody as long as they handle themselves well and they treat everybody with respect. I'm happy for everybody.
That's been the road to like teaching Sean. Like, hey man, like you're on a bigger platform. You have to be aware of what you say, and he's not. It's been really hard to get him to understand that like you kind of have a responsibility now that your platform is bigger to monitor like your actions, because like your actions, anyone on a big stage, a big platform has to understand their actions have consequences. There are repercussions that maybe you don't see, but like when you say something, when you do something. You can't account for everything, but there's someone out there who's going to see that, and they're probably going to run with it in the wrong way. You can't
Thank you,
stop
Chris.
everything and everyone, but you have to be aware of it. Like when you flippantly say things or do things, there's someone out there who's like gonna hear that and like, okay, like I'm gonna run with it to the left, and
Thank
it's
you.
dangerous.
Thank you so much, Chris, because this is like the best thing you said out of all the good things you said this whole interview. I really appreciate what you just said because with greatness comes great responsibility, and with all the young eyeballs and this decaying society and morality in which we live, there's very few real true role models out there. And you and every fighter out there, including Sean and everybody that's at the top, has a chance to make an impression on people. And like I said, with greatness comes great responsibility. So
And that's
I
entirely
appreciate what
true
you just
too.
said. I truly believe you're exactly correct on that. You know,
It,
and the young people out there, they emulate. And
and that's the
what's being
scary thing.
emulated now with social media and stuff like we've talked about recently on the show is not exactly in my generation what I would call a great thing to be seen. You know.
And that's you're entirely right. That's the scary thing, man. Is like I think things are weird a lot of the part now because social media social media highlights the extreme because no one clicks on a video for like something normal. You click on a video for the extreme and the uncommon and the things that are out there, and that's what gets promoted and that's what gets passed around over and over and over. And like you said, unfortunately, I'm 37. I always laugh and say I'm from the first generation of like unfiltered internet. Like when I was a kid coming up, I was like 10 or 12, 13. We had the internet. My parents had my mom had no idea what the internet really was going on. She was like, "Oh, don't look at bad stuff," but she had no idea. I was in that first. I was like internet cowboy to where like our parents went out the room, they're asleep at night. We're like on the internet, like figuring it out because no one really knew. So like I've kind of seen like how weird that can get. But now with the first generation, with these kids now today, kids are 20, kids are 15 have grown up with high speed, the entire world at your fingertips,
Yeah.
which is a
Yeah.
phenomenal thing. But at the same time, there's a lot of things in the world that like that we don't need access to, kids should have access to. So I think early on you get crap like I'm going to be that guy. You get crap like Andrew Tate like spewing things that like kids don't understand. And when you have such an impressionable mind this young, why do we say impressionable ages? Because these things stick. You make core
Yeah.
understandings and memories and like pathways in your brain. And like
Yep.
as an adult, if you hear this, you hear people say some of these things, you're like, you're an idiot. But as a kid, that bakes in, and then that becomes your ideology. And I
Yep.
say ideology intentionally because I think a lot of the problems going on now are because ideologies that are baked in to minds that didn't understand them at the time. So once it's baked in at a young age, you're indoctrinated to things that maybe you shouldn't be. And
Yep.
then once
True.
that happens,
True.
once you're indoctrinated, you don't hear the other side anymore. You don't
It's
hear
a
other
very
things. You believe, you go deeper down, and which leads to more extreme and like just actions that like a person older who wasn't in that wouldn't take. But like this is what you're baked into. This is what you're born into now, and it gets scary, man. It gets really scary, which is exactly why I say you have to be careful with what you say.
it's a very impressionistic society out there, no question. Um, and you talk about role models. I mean, as athletes, I think it's a great chance for you to express yourself, as you just said. And with that being said, the MMA awards, the Fighters Only MMA awards came out, for Fighter of the
Oh
Year
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. I got nominated again for Personality of the Year, which Joe Rogan has pretty much taken almost every year. But one person on that list, and even her interaction with Sean, and congratulations to Sean and everything going on in his career. But I want to congratulate this lady too because I think she's really come on in the last year, and that's Nina Drama. You know, she's a really nice person. She's
So
very cool. And she openly speaks about her limitations and where she's going to go. I think she has a great personality for doing what she does, and she's come on strong. And even though I'm in this list sharing with her, and if you want to vote for me, that's great. DC Cormier's in here, Chael Sonnen, Joe Rogan, and Nina. I have a funny feeling Nina's going to be up there with her acceptance speech, and it's going to be very entertaining.
here's
So
the fun thing, man. Like so, I was very unsure about Nina when I first met her. Like, I just didn't know. I didn't know you, and it's just like I feel. My first thought was, especially with around Sean, I was like, I don't know. I didn't really know you. Just kind of came out of nowhere. But I've known Nina for like over almost like a year and a half now, maybe longer. Nina's a damn good person. Like it's Nina is she's as a human being, she's a really good human being. She's a good person. Her husband's a great dude. It kills me that people. I see like the hate that she gets from people. I'm
There's
like,
always
guys,
haters, Chris. There's always haters.
there's always, but like, if anybody does, like, Nina's actually a really good person. Like, she is genuinely 100% like a really good human being, and like, she grows on you fast. And like, the more you get to know her, especially like not just behind the camera, but like in person, she's a great human. So I'm excited for her. She deserves that nomination. Like she's done a lot. She works hard, guys. Like Nina is from sun up to sundown. Nina's working her butt.
Yeah.
She works hard.
She deserves it.
Yeah, and she's got a great position with UFC. I mean, she's going to be in Perth. She was in what was it? She was in Manchester, England. So good for her. Some of the people I really happy to see their progression. Another one I forgot to mention during the Olympics, Ariel Helwani. I mean, his career is just exploded. I mean, he's got millions in his future, the whole bit. I mean, I'm proud of him. I mean, I was like one of his first interviews when he was in college years ago. And I've watched that whole progression this whole time. So kudos to him too.
The thing with Ariel Buff, I think, is a lot of people look at him as like this MMA guy and combat sports guy.
He's multifaceted.
But I think Ariel was always trying to be that guy. He was always trying to be a guy who could do an NBA game or the Olympics or boxing or MMA. And I think a lot of people get typecasted as, oh, you're an MMA person here, which to a lot of people I think means, oh, you wouldn't be able to do this type of work if it wasn't for combat sports. I'll
give Ariel credit, man. Like he's gone out of his way though to show that I can do anything. Like he is like, he's not the combat sports guy. He's a sports guy. And you like the thing is he's got an eye for it. And you can tell when he's out there, when he's talking about it, when he's breaking stuff down, he's interviewing, he loves what he does. And I think it really shines through. And a lot of people didn't meet Ariel from MMA and combat sports and whatnot. But like, he's really taking the ball and running with it. Like, I love Ariel. And like, it's really cool to see, like, man, like he's actually becoming like that guy in the sports world. So that's really cool to see.
No, it's very cool. And speaking of good people, my experience, my relationship with Ariel as a friend, he's good people. So that's my attitude. Good for him. I love seeing
He's always
people.
been great to me. He's always been kind. Like I absolutely love Ariel.
Yep. Exactly.
Hilariously, Chael Sonnen's actually been a really good dude to me too, which is funny because like I think Chael Sonnen's going to fight me at one point, but Chael's actually.
I like Chael a lot. Chael, he's always entertaining.
Dude,
Chael is Chael. Chael is Chael. Guys, we got a couple minutes here. I want to go over just a couple more things real quick. Kobe Bryant's Staples Center locker, I told you, was up for auction for $1 million.
Yeah.
What do you think it sold for?
I'm going to say 1.7.
1.5. 1.5.
2.8.
Woo!
2.8 million. Somebody paid for it.
Wow.
That's crazy. And another thing, my heart goes out to what these fine astronauts who were stuck in space.
I just saw that. Like, yeah, they'll be there for until next year, they said.
In a small capsule, maybe stuck there till 2025. I know that they recirculate their urine for water or whatever that process is.
Yeah.
But so I mean, food. I mean, in a small. You talk about claustrophobic.
I thought they were on the space. They're on the space station.
So they had the ISS, but what happened was with like the Boeing space line or whatever. There's some issues, so they can't cycle them out because they don't like it. The Boeing space line is hard to like get up and down, so they don't want to send two people back down. So they have to wait until they can cycle more people and like so they can either fix it or send more people. So like what happens is now you have to wait till next year, and then there's more people to fix and then cycle back down because like you can't send two people down. Like they can't navigate this and it's got issues. So they're just like, well, you got to wait until we've got a full crew to do everything on. So they're there at the ISS till like next year. And like the thing is, the ISS has supplies for like the crew that was there. Now you add more people on top of it. They're like, this is gonna get paid. So now like they got to bring like more spacesuits in the next trip up. They got like the astronauts are bringing like more spacesuits and supplies because like we can't bring you back down yet. Like you're here until next year. Like,
well, they were only supposed to be there for like a month.
A week. It's like a week.
A week.
People just be there for a week, and now they're like. Can you imagine being in space?
I don't know. I'd have cabin fever beyond belief. There's no
Really,
question about
I'm
it.
floating home. I don't care. They're like, Chris, you can't do that. I'm outside. Like, I'm floating home. Like, screw this.
Yeah, I mean, send a tweet to Elon and ask him to send a rocket up. So he
Well,
can
they're
pick you
already
up or
talking about
something.
the fact that they may have to, there's a chance that Elon Musk SpaceX might come into effect to help rescue him. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're
Dude,
slowly making.
I'm not.
I haven't
Let's
decided
just hope they
Elon.
get down. No matter what happens, let's just hope they get down okay, safe
Well, I
and
mean,
Yeah,
sound.
sure.
there hasn't been like an accident in a long time, so I'm not really worried about like something going wrong because that's why they're taking so long anyway. They're like, we're gonna do it right. It just takes time. It's just
Yeah.
it sucks that like you're like I'm gonna be home next week. Now you're like
Right.
talking to your family like I'll see you in like 4 to 5 months. Like yeah, sorry, like, that's wild.
Guys, one last note before we go because I forgot to tell this story. I never thought I would see this. Alabama, Texas, and Oklahoma will now be in grocery stores. There's going to be vending machines selling ammunition. Vending machines selling
In grocery
bullets.
stores?
Huh?
In grocery stores? I mean,
In
that's what
grocery
seems-
stores in Alabama, Texas, and Oklahoma,
Okay,
there
I'm
will
not,
be
I'm not
vending
trying
machines.
to like. I'm not trying to be cute with this, but like, why grocery stores? Like,
I don't
that's-
know. Well, if it's in grocery stores, it'll be in other stores. But
Hey,
wow,
babe.
I think that one speaks for itself.
Oh. Hey, babe. Come here for a second. My girlfriend's from Texas, and like
What's
I
that?
wanna, my girlfriend is from Texas, so I want to make fun of her for being from Texas for the things that they do. Because we always talk about like Texas things, and she'll say
Right.
things. I'm like, that's a very Texas thing. Hey, did you hear that Texas is going to have ammo and vending machines at grocery stores?
Honestly, I'm not too surprised.
All right, so that was the alternative to Nate Diaz's "I'm not surprised, motherfucker."
Yeah,
I
so-
like that a lot. I like
There
it a
you go.
lot.
I like to make fun of her for like when Texas does Texas
look at
things.
that. Nice to see you.
Oh,
Look
hi
at that
there.
beautiful baby.
Say hi, Bear.
How old?
He is almost 10 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a handsome little boy.
Look at his hair. Like, oh, his hair's gonna take him far. He's like John
Oh, yeah.
Stamos. His hair's gonna take him so far.
It's a lot of hair. He might have a beard coming out soon.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. Like, I'm like, he's got no facial hair yet, which saddens me, but like this hair is phenomenal.
We're gonna embrace the Texas and give him the mullet.
Yeah, he's got a mullet.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
that's-
So he got Texas heritage. He does have the baby mullet. Like, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Chris, we got to sign off. Thank you for sharing. What's his name?
Barrett.
Barrett? Hey,
Yep.
Barrett.
Say hi, Bear. Say hi, Bruce Buffer. So I've seen you on TV.
Hi, Barrett. Chris, we got to sign off. I got to go train myself for a couple hours here. So
Woo, you
let's,
don't have fun with that.
got to get it done, Chris. Got to get it done. 67, baby. I got to keep myself in shape.
You're
So,
67?
yeah.
Oh, you give me hope. All right.
All natural. Yay.
Yeah,
Okay,
you give me
it's all
hope.
good.
Oh my God, that's actually like that's pretty good job, Bruce Buffer.
Thank you, Chris. Anything you want to say before we sign off, Chris?
No, just thank you guys, man. I'm so sad I missed my chance to be on here before, but thank you guys for having me back. This is fun. You guys are awesome, and I never thought when I started this, I'm like, hey, like I remember watching you on DVDs when I worked at a video store. Like I want to be a UFC fighter, and now I'm on a podcast with you. So it's life. Life takes you weird places. I'm grateful. Never thought
Always
I'd be here, so thank you.
Thank you for your kind words, and always a pleasure to roar your name in the octagon. So I look forward to seeing you in Salt Lake City on October 5th.
All right, I can't wait, man. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, guys.